This time on Falmouth in Focus, bringing back the pawpaws. Local growers get a taste of that delicious but forgotten fruit with a funny name. Medicare open enrollment is underway. We'll talk to a county official for information on securing health coverage regardless of your means. And Jazz Stroll 2023 is just around the corner. We've got a preview of who's playing and a little in-studio performance. This is Falmouth in Focus, and it starts right now. Hello and welcome to Falmouth in Focus, our bi-monthly roundup of local events and FCTV member engagement with the community. I'm Michael Kasparian.
And I'm Eileen Preston. All that is coming up, but we're devoting the first part of this program to a serious ecological issue and increasingly urgent moves to seek solutions.
Falmouth has a wastewater problem, as do other parts of the Cape. One scientist recently described our water quality as appalling in local media. A central concern is excess nitrogen in local freshwater ponds and reservoirs.
A whole lot of new homes have been built here over the years, and many of the septic systems installed in those homes do little to prevent nitrogen from seeping into the environment.
A cheap and ecologically beneficial solution might be available, but it would require a shift in how people think. Local sustainable living advocates Hilda Mangay and Earl Barnhart have spent quite a few years pushing for urine diversion and capture. And now there are some signs their activism is gaining some traction. FCTV paid them a visit at the headquarters of their nonprofit, the Green Center.
And it'll grow all the way to its full height in about a month.
My name's Earl Barnhart. I live in Hatchville, East Falmouth, Massachusetts. I'm a director of the Green Center, a nonprofit institute that studies ecological solutions to environmental problems.
My name is Hilda Mangay, and I live at the same place as he does, and we do both the same thing.
We have lived on the Cape since the 1970s. In the 1970s, 80s, 90s, we were part of a research institute that tried to develop ecological ways for people to live sustainably. The Rich Earth Institute in Brattleboro, Vermont invented this thing called a cubie, and it is a portable unisex urinal, waterless urinal, is used to divert urine, and in Brattleboro they use the urine for research and to provide fertilizer to farmers.
In the whole garden, all we use is shredded leaves and urine. We do not use any other kind of fertilizer or amendment.
We have recently proposed to the town that they do a urine diversion pilot project for several years and to measure the reduction in nitrogen. The Water Quality Management Committee has gone to DEP, the state regulators, and asked them if we can do this, and can we get permission to do it, and can you get credit later if it becomes successful. And the DEP regulators discussed pilot projects and said, why don't we skip the 1.5 year normal first pilot project, assume that it's got promise, and go directly to a provisional stage of pilot projects, which is 3 years.
Urine diversion has no mechanical parts. It's not like other alternative systems, septic systems that are very complicated and have a lot of mechanical engineering part, and it have to be monitored for a long time to see if they work and if they work to the standard that is required. Urine diversion doesn't have any of that. There's no machines involved. So they realized that there's really nothing to measure except for the nitrogen itself.
The other urine diverting fixture that we're interested in is this one, which is a urinal for men only that fits in the wall of a house and is used, and the urine is diverted out of the house, out a pipe, into a storage container buried in the outdoors, or into the basement in a storage container. We think that this would be the quickest, fastest fixture that could be installed in homes on the Cape to divert all of the men's urine from the homes that use them, and in theory you could divert 50% of all the nitrogen on the Cape through urinals in homes, private homes.
You can exchange the part where the funnel is, put this gadget on, which is a faucet basically, and then pour the urine, open it up, and pour the urine right in there. That way you don't have to carry it very far. If you don't have that, then you have to carry it to a place where you can store it. And that is, for many people, eventually probably more than they want to do. There's actually nothing clean about a flush toilet. The flush toilets splash. We all know when men, boys use the toilet, it splashes everywhere. If you flush a toilet, which then of course is full of human waste, a lot of the aerosols come out and splash up to 6 feet into the air and outside of the toilet. So it's on your toothbrush and it's on your toilet paper and it's on anything that is a surface where these aerosols fall down on. So, and people don't realize it. So actually flush toilets are not hygienic at all. In a waterless toilet you have no smell, and you have no splashing, and you have no contamination outside the toilet.
Most people in our society have grown up always using flush toilets, and the idea of doing anything else is new to virtually everyone. But environmentally, times have changed, and there are a number of reasons why it's worth changing your habits if you can improve the environment and avoid damage.
Most people kind of think that a solution will be found somewhere. Somewhere must be the big government or something. And if we wait for the big government to solve all our problems, I think we'll be too late.
Hilda and Earl will be on hand to explain urine diversion appliances in person at an event about freshwater pond quality this month.
That event is taking place Tuesday, October 17th. It's called Freshwater Pond Health, Challenges and Solutions, and it's being hosted by the Falmouth Pond Coalition. The founder of the coalition stopped by FCTV to give us a preview.
My name is Kim Comart. I'm a longtime resident of Falmouth, and I live on Deep Pond in the Hatchville neighborhood. Last year, I founded the Falmouth Pond Coalition after seeing that not only our pond, but other freshwater ponds in Falmouth were degrading, and that many of our freshwater ponds were at risk of degrading. Our focus has been essentially twofold. One is educating people who live on or near freshwater ponds about what the condition of their pond is, what the challenges to their pond are, and what they can do to promote the health of their pond, protect their pond, and really to develop sort of a shared sense of stewardship and responsibility and ownership of that pond. We also see the connection with property values. A degraded pond means that the values of those homes on that pond are going to be lower. And we see a lot of evidence of that. There are a variety of factors that are contributing to the degradation of our ponds. The most important factor by far is our septic systems. Septic systems are designed to kill pathogens. They don't treat the nitrogen and the phosphorus. Those are the key chemicals that are coming out of the human body into our septic systems and then go into the leach field and leach into the pond. So what we've learned is that the primary source of the degradation of our ponds is actually from septic system, and it's about 75% of all of these excess nutrients going into the pond. So when excess nutrients go into a pond, they stimulate production and growth of plants and weeds, and as those grow, the more and more they suffocate other life in that pond, and it leads to something called eutrophication, which means that that pond no longer has enough oxygen to support fish, frogs, turtles, and other wildlife. On October 17th, we will be hosting a educational forum open to Falmouth residents and beyond, where we'll have a terrific lineup of speakers who are experts in their field. We'll be talking about topics such as pond chemistry. We'll have speakers talking about how you can take care of your property in a way that helps to protect the lawn, how to create a, quote, Cape Cod lawn, a lawn that doesn't need a lot of watering, that doesn't require fertilizer, making sure you've got strong plant barriers that protect the pond from runoff, making sure that you are looking at cleaning your storm drains, having your septic system cleaned. And then finally, focusing on the issue of how to keep nitrogen and phosphorus out of our ponds by diverting human waste from our ponds. So this event will be on October 17th, beginning at 6:30. If you'd like more information about it, please visit our website at www.falmouthpondcoalition.org. You'll see all the details there, and we hope to see you at the event.
Eileen, one of the things you'll hear over and over again from wastewater activists is that nitrogen is not garbage. It's a valuable resource.
That's right. It's a crucial input for farming and gardening. FCTV member organization Farming Falmouth is working to spread that message. But lately, they've also been thinking about pawpaws.
If you don't know what a pawpaw is, you're not alone. Modern times and modern ways have left the pawpaw by the wayside in many places, but Farming Falmouth is trying to bring them back. Some members of the group stopped by our kitchen set to tell us more.
My name is Kurt Asian, and I'm here with Patricia Gadsby, with Sawyer Broadley, and with Ellie Costa, all very valuable members of Farming Falmouth. We are kind of squatting in FCTV's Falmouth is Cooking studio. Gail, who usually runs her show here, is not with us, but we're going to do a little bit with food today. My hands are almost shaking because I've been so excited to talk about pawpaws. The orchard that we planted is what, 2 years on or 3? We were just there the other day.
So we had a selection of about 20 pawpaws that were grown from seed, and from there we have people sort of filling them into what is now going to be a pawpaw orchard.
What we're doing with the permaculture is like the cardboard is mimicking years and years of detritus that's fallen in the forest, right? That's kept all those little weeds down, and so we're just trying to mimic that here, and hopefully the compost and adding all this is going to encourage the soil to change slightly, but this is sand. Yeah. This is going to require some water. I'm very happy. Yeah. I'm very happy that all the ones we thought had died had a strong enough root that they came back.
And what's important about pawpaws, I think the reason that they dovetail with the whole Farming Falmouth vibe is that these are fruits that were once growing like crazy across the eastern part of the United States. They were a big part of the native diet, the Native American diet. They would cultivate them and pick them seasonally. And importantly, they're a fruit that grows really luscious that you can pick, but you can't transport. You can't box them up and put them in a warehouse and put them on the back of a truck for a supply chain process that lasts, 4 to 6 weeks. You get that thing off the tree, you got 3 to 5 days, maybe.
It's a completely local and indigenous American fruit. And I'm dying to hear about your trip to the Pawpaw Festival.
To the Pawpaw Festival.
I've been in love with pawpaws for a long time. I planted my first trees when I was 11. they were a cool fruit. And for a long time, that's all they were. They were a cool, quirky plant. But it wasn't until I became a plant breeder when I started to see that they were a plant with a lot of potential. They already grow well, they already taste great. The last milestone we have to hit is being able to get it to consumers.
Come on over. To get the pawpaw into people's mouths to try it, I mean, people just are like, wow. It's just got a very limited range and availability. And then, you know, I think our society in general is sort of out of touch with nature.
We're going to get to the good stuff now. We have got pawpaws right in the fridge. The motto of Integration Acres is pawpaws to the people. And now we can take a look at kind of what they look like, pawpaws. So you can see they're in various stages here of ripeness. I'm actually going to take this little camera from the side and borrow it. I'm going to go just across so we get...
And these are fruit that you brought from Ohio, right?
These are well-traveled pawpaws.
Yeah.
Yeah, originally picked somewhere out in Ohio, and they've made the journey here.
It's quite soft, but I'm hitting...
Yeah, so you kind of cut around them, and there you go. That actually looks really beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you see it?
It does look like custard.
It does, very custardy.
You can just take it and kind of, you scrape your teeth with it, that kind of thing.
Scrape your teeth with it. I should use...
If you want to grab a spoon, go for it. Oh, this spoon's here, Patricia.
Oh, wow. Oh, that is so good.
Bananas, right? That is so good.
But it's got that little tangy.
Mm-hmm. And this one, if you served this to me, this little slightly yellower one, if you served that to me and told me it was a mango, I'd believe you. That's how close to it is. Crazy good, right?
That pawpaw tasting is part of a full-length program Farming Falmouth produces for FCTV called Growing Together. Check programming schedules at fctv.org for when you can tune in.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back in just a moment, Medicare enrollment tips, and an author shares hard-earned lessons about caring for aging parents.
Hello, I'm David Mark Welch, a member of UU Falmouth, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation for the Upper Cape. You can visit us at 840 Sandwich Road in East Falmouth on Sunday mornings at 10, or at one of our many interesting community events throughout the week. They're all listed on our website, uufalmouth.org. At UU Falmouth, we enjoy working together, turning our common values into action. We're fighting local food insecurity by donating to the Falmouth Service Center. We're supporting the Wampanoag community and their language reclamation project. We're helping the environment by renovating our meeting house to eliminate fossil fuel emissions. Meaningful Sunday services, fun activities, learning opportunities, making a difference in our community. UU Falmouth, 840 Sandwich Road, East Falmouth. For more information, visit us at uufalmouth.org.
About 1 million Americans are estimated to be living with Parkinson's disease, and that number is rising. The central nervous system disorder impairs balance, movement, talking, and even breathing.
Managing the disease and seeking a cure takes resources, and Falmouth residents stepped up to the plate to raise funds by taking part in the recent American Parkinson's Association's Local Optimism Walk 2023. FCTV's Tony Sedera has some of its sights and sounds.
We are here at Falmouth High School for our annual Opportunity Walk. This is for Parkinson's disease. This fundraiser has a very definite purpose. It's to raise support, education, and research for the curing of Parkinson's disease so that we can live a full and rich life.
Each year what we try to do is invite the PD community down to our event. There's no obligation, no fee, to come down and really experience a high sense of community. You can come down, get educational materials, find out about all the different techniques on how to manage Parkinson's disease, and it's a very important thing here on Cape Cod as well as in Massachusetts. We've seen a sharp increase in the amount of people that have been diagnosed, and we do a wide range of different programs that are free here in Massachusetts, and so thanks to the Falmouth community and for Jay Zavala.
We provide programs including an information and referral center with BU. We provide support groups, educational programs, wellness programs, and we really help individuals with PD as well as their caregivers, family members, learn how to thrive with PD.
So here on Cape Cod, we have approximately 2,000, it's an estimated 2,000 people with Parkinson's disease, and they're being helped tremendously by APDA Live a Life to its Fullest.
I'd like to introduce this year's honoree for the Optimism Walk. Marlene Spengler has been incredibly valuable to the PD community on Cape Cod and the area for about 20 years. And so Marlene has helped us in a great way here on Cape Cod by not only connecting the community and serving on the board for quite some time, but also with helping us deliver programs and services on Cape Cod.
It's been my privilege to be able to work with the amazing people who started the Parkinson's Support Network initially here on Cape Cod. Grassroots start with a gal named Joyce who incited the passion for, Parkinson's programming, which we have so many things going on. We have yoga, we have pickleball, we have boxing, we have all sorts of activities like singing. The community down here is amazing.
We understand that this disease can sometimes be isolating, and so we want to make sure that if you know anybody or can be helped by any of our services, please reach out to apdaparkinson.org/Massachusetts. Thank you.
Cape Cod Hospital and Falmouth Hospital are issuing a call for blood donations. Hospitals generally need about a week's supply of blood in storage at all times. That can be challenging because any given donation pouch lasts only about 42 days maximum.
Cape Cod Healthcare is administering the blood drive at locations all around the Cape in October. Here in Falmouth area, there are 3 opportunities to roll up a sleeve. On October 10th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at St. Anthony's Fatima Hall in East Falmouth. On October 16th, from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Christ the King Church in neighboring Mashpee. And on October 30th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at John Wesley United Methodist Church on Gifford Street in Falmouth.
'Tis the season for Medicare open enrollment. Counselors for the state program SHINE, which stands for Serving the Health Insurance Needs of Everyone, have been booking appointments at the Senior Center to help folks enroll. SHINE program manager Christina Witten-O'Brien dropped by to talk about what to expect.
For an appointment, the most important thing to do, I think, for open enrollment or a regular appointment when you're signing up for Medicare is to bring your medication list. Now, some folks are very lucky and they're not on any medication. Some folks we've seen might have a list of 2, 3, 10 medications. Right. But that's very important because when you sign up for Medicare or now this open enrollment period, we will do a drug search for you. So an appointment would take about an hour, so you want to kind of carve out that amount of time. You go down to your local senior center or to the Council on Aging, whichever they call it in your town, and you'd meet with a SHINE counselor, again, for about an hour. You'd talk about what your questions are, what your needs are. You'd learn a little bit about the different parts of Medicare, and then we have some handouts because when you're on the Cape and on the islands, only certain plans kind of cross the bridge to come over here to provide plans and services for folks.
Which is interesting because there are less plans available here on the Cape, right?
Correct.
And yet, I did a little research for the state. 14% of people are over 65 on average. On Cape Cod, 26%. And in our town, Falmouth, it's 32%. So 1/3 of the town is over 65 and there's less plans. So you're really going to want to talk to SHINE people to get you to get yourself into a plan that's going to work and save you money, it's a little harder to get on a good plan on the Cape, right?
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned the save you money piece, because that's also one of the goals of our counselors and of our program. Because once you retire, you have a fixed amount of money that you've allotted for yourself to live off of every month. And so if there's a new diagnosis or a new medication, that can be a substantial cost that you didn't plan for. I mean, we get calls and meet with folks all the time who have been put on a new drug, and we all see the different drugs that are advertised, and those can be very expensive. And it could be, I had someone call whose mother was put on a drug that's $3,800 a month, and that's not something she has income for. And so the other thing we do in a SHINE program is take a look at your income as well as your assets and screen you for any of those mass health programs, which are mass savings programs that could pick up any co-pays or premium costs.
And just a little bit more of that saving money piece, Michael. Christina told me a SHINE counselor was able to save one enrollee $23,000 in prescription drug coverage.
Wow.
So get that appointment. Open enrollment begins October 15th and goes till December 7th.
That's motivation. Getting older can be difficult, even under the best of circumstances. But it's even harder when major medical issues set in. It's emotionally and financially draining, not just for the patient, but for the next generation in the family. The Falmouth Public Library recently hosted author Liz O'Donnell, whose book, Working Daughter, is about the time she spent caring for both parents who faced terminal diagnosis at the same time. Here's a short selection of what she had to say.
I normally don't do this, but I want to read a little story from the book today. Normally I just speak, but the story takes place in Falmouth, and maybe some of you can relate to parts of it. The problem is nobody dies anymore. My oldest sister looked at me, horrified by what I said, and then she started to giggle. You're awful. It's true. We were walking around the lake near my parents' house, the same lake we swam in as kids. It was a familiar walk, but we were in unfamiliar territory. Our father had started acting strange. He was confused by simple things. He didn't recognize his granddaughter and had lost all patience with our mother. Our mother was distraught. Several years earlier, she had tripped on her Crocs in the fall, which resulted in a broken nose, stitches, and bruising so bad that she looked like a pansy, her favorite flower, had changed her. She stopped driving, started using a walker, and became housebound except for the errands, doctor's appointments, and occasional lunches out that the home health aide, a neighbor, or I took her to. My sisters and I saw her growing older and sadder, but we felt helpless to do anything. We wanted our parents to move to an assisted living facility, and my mother wanted that too, but my father wouldn't go. We tried to convince her to go without him. We thought they might be happier living in separate places, but she wouldn't leave him, and we didn't know how we'd afford 2 homes anyway. Now with my father clearly not well, my mother appeared to be at her breaking point, and my sisters and I just didn't know what to do. Most people think about the fact that their parents will die someday. They prepare themselves as well as anyone can prepare for something you don't really know anything about. But what they don't consider and don't prepare for is that their parents might not die, at least not quickly or well. They might grow old and sick and stay that way for years. They may become frail or infirm. And children are never prepared for what feels like a role reversal when they start to care for their parents. They're not prepared for all the times that their parents resist their support, shun their help, ignore their advice, and they're forced to stand helplessly by and watch the people who raised and cared for them decline. I wasn't ready for any of that.
Liz O'Donnell's full talk is running on FCTV's public channel. Check scheduling at fctv.org. In just a moment, we'll hear from the students of Falmouth. And we'll take a trip to consider the arts, from grant opportunities to a stroll down Main Street turned jazz festival.
So what we're doing here today is a prescribed fire, what people often refer to as a controlled burn. Most of the objective today for this fire is to reduce fuel loads and to manage the grasslands for rare species habitats and concerns. Also, one of the objectives is to lessen the tree load in the grasslands. Grasslands are supposed to be grasslands. We do live in a fire-dependent ecosystem here on Cape Cod in southeastern Massachusetts, the Pine Barrens, Scrub Oak Barrens, You'll get pine needle drop underneath of it. That's all available fuels. But then you'll get the taller grass that gets into the 3 or 4 feet up the tree. Then you can get other fuels, as they refer to as ladder fuels, that can climb up into the tree. That'll cause the fire to travel up into the canopy of the tree. On pitch pine, it also can catch the bark on fire and into the canopy of the tree because it's full of pitch pine. Our system is diverse enough and has a diverse enough sets of habitats so that it remains resilient with climate change as the climate warms here in New England and we see new species of plants and bugs. Protects against wildfire hazards, also protects the community, also protects for, again, climate resiliency in reducing the fuel load and letting Mother Nature become more diverse in the system. They put up with a little smoke currently when we do the prescribed fire, but a wildfire and its smoke would be far more hazardous to the community than prescribed burns and controlled burns. And our surrounding communities do not see wildfire that often. We have annual fire trainings that the surrounding fire companies participate in. Their firefighters will have the basics to respond to any wildfire in their community. It provides for climate resiliency and diversity and community protection from wildfire hazard.
Falmouth Public Schools are up and running for the 2023 to 2024 school year. FCTV Educational Access Coordinator Ryan Weber spoke to students around the district to get their thoughts about the months ahead.
I feel most like a Clipper when I'm a part of communities at school like the Hope Squad, which is a suicide prevention group run by students for students.
I'm a Clipper when I'm playing softball and just really in my element with my teammates.
I feel like I belong at Falmouth High School because my teachers make me feel welcomed every day in the morning when I come in, and my classmates as well. I think we all work together very well.
I enjoy coming to school because it helps me academically and emotionally.
I feel like I belong at the school because the teachers are very friendly here.
I enjoy coming to school each and every day because of just learning new things and the excitement that my teachers are able to create in the classroom that just makes me want to be there and be engaged.
I enjoy coming to Falmouth High School every day because of the students, the teachers, and my after-school practices and games. Specifically about the games and practices, I enjoy being part of a team because we all work together and we are very kind and games are very exciting to play other teams.
My classmates help me when they make my day better.
I chose Falmouth High School because the staff is really supportive of the student voice, and I'm a member of student government, and I approached some staff members with an idea to create some more student spaces here at the school, and I was met with a lot of support and help to achieve my goal.
I'm a Clipper when I help others.
I enjoy coming to school to see my friends and learning new stuff.
I feel like I belong at my school because everyone is very inclusive and welcoming.
My teachers make me feel welcome by helping me whenever I need help, caring for either if I'm struggling or not. They'll always be there to help me.
My teachers help me by just always being aware of what's going on in my life and just always being someone that I can talk to and listen to and talk out my problems with.
This year, the Falmouth Arts Council provided $28,000 in funds to local arts projects, including about $900 to FCTV, which we use to conduct classes in streaming technology for creators. Now the application period for fiscal year 2024 is open, and the council wants to hear some good ideas. At a recent informational session about the grants, Council Chair Alice Kochemba urged applicants to be bold and think outside the box.
Last year we funded a dehumidifier for the Woods Hole Historical Society so that their archives wouldn't get moldy, which I thought was a sensible, reasonable thing.
It was unusual.
Yeah, and we funded a smart TV for the Children's Discovery Museum, so kids could do that. So I would encourage you to really think about, how do I say this?
Connecting
but also,
the community.
But also, when in doubt, submit an application. What's the worst that's going to happen is you don't get funded because if it's out of the parameters. It's not, we've made it look like it's so onerous, but it's a simple application. It just is about you really believing in your project.
You can find applications for local Arts Council funding at massculturalcouncil.org. Remember, there's no dollar amount too small and no idea too creative.
Nice.
So go for it. The hard deadline to have applications submitted online is October 17th.
The Arts Council is getting ready to put on its annual Jazz Stroll, when music fans can walk from one venue to the next in the Main Street area to hear live performances. FCTV member Marilyn Rowland is coordinating the stroll. She stopped by with some special guests to preview what's ahead and to serve up a little in-studio music.
Hi, I'm Marilyn Rowland. I'm president of Arts Falmouth, which is a nonprofit organization which produces 3 major events each year. The Woods Hole Trad Stroll in May, Arts Alive in June, and the Jazz Stroll in October. The Jazz Stroll 2023 is coming up on October 14th. Starts at 3 p.m. at the Station Grill on Depot Avenue and ends at 8 p.m. at the Falmouth Museums on the Green. And this year we have we're very fortunate today to have 2 musicians who will be in the Jazz Stroll with us today. Olivia Yingling is a singer, and Pat Ryan is a musician and very active in the local jazz community. So, Pat, can you tell us a little about the history of the Jazz Stroll?
Well, I'm going to go way back to the history that I'm most familiar with, was sort of the event that predated the Jazz Stroll, I believe. It was the Jazz Fest Falmouth that got off the ground in 2008. Had a wonderful beginning with Deb Rogers, who was part of it, and Jim Murray, who had the Nimrod, and Stan Terrell, Dennis Murphy, Stan Vincent, Jay and Susan Zavala, Roger and Judy Day, and myself. And I got wind that this jazz festival was in the works, and I got tapped to help organize the musician. And so I did that for a couple of years, and we had some incredible music down at the harbor. But now it seems like, you're bringing back some really good musicians performing here.
So I'm really excited that we're moving up to 8 venues this year, and we've got, I think, a really good assortment of people, including Olivia. So tell us something about yourself. How did you get started in jazz?
I didn't start singing until I was taking it seriously until I was 18. And I think I just thought, hey, this is something people you can sing your whole life, So when I was a teenager and people would be like, oh, Liv, you sound so good. And I'd be like, oh, I do? I'm like, they're just pulling my leg, Then when I was 18, it started to be so often that people are like, oh, are you a singer? Do you sing professionally? So I started kind of, taking it seriously. And my granddad, my whole life, was a huge jazz fan. And he was the one who inspired me at 18, was like, Liv, you should be singing jazz.
In a sentimental mood, I can see the stars drifting in my room. With your loving attitude, like a flame that lights my room. On the wings of every kiss drifts a melody so strange and sweet, and I'll always want to be in a complete. Rose petals seem to fall. It's all just a dream to call you mine. My heart's a light everything, 'cause you make this night a thing divine. In a sentimental mood, I'm within a world so heavenly, 'cause I always wanna be loving sentiment to
Eileen, I kind of like the idea of Falmouth as a jazz destination. What do you think?
I can almost hear the saxophone over the harbor now. I love it. That's going to wrap up our show for the moment. I'm Eileen Preston.
And I'm Michael Kasparian. We're always eager to see your local photos and videos. Use the hashtag MyFalmouth to flag them to our attention. We'll go out on some of those images now. Until next time, we'll see you around town.